At the end of the day, what we want is to have precision medicine, basically a more precise way of capturing patient information for a better, more personalized approach to understand the health situation of a given individual. AI helps us to be more faster, to be more efficient, and to see things faster, which otherwise we would not see early enough. Whatever we see, whatever we do, from our perspective, from a lifespan perspective, is basically what clinical chemistry has done in the last 100 years. But in our case, boom, you get it in 5 minutes.
Today, we're exploring how artificial intelligence is changing the way we understand and manage our health, from predicting illness early to personalizing treatment like never before. Joining me is Dr. Ali Tinazli, CEO of Lifespan, a company using AI and metabolomic data to help detect diseases early and make precision medicine more accessible. With over 15 years of leadership experience across AI, MedTech, and diagnostics, and a career that's included senior roles at HP and Sony, Dr. Tinazli is helping turn data into one of the most powerful tools in modern healthcare. Ali, welcome.
Hello, Sylvian. Great being here. Thank you for inviting me for the podcast.
Thank you for being here. For people who aren't familiar with the term, how would you explain what precision medicine is and why it's such a big shift from traditional medicine?
Yeah. So first of all, I think people are sometimes scared of new technologies or new terms. Now, let's say precision medicine means basically the medicine which we know as of today, but being more precise. So why is this important? For example, when I get my annual lab test, I go to my physician, I get my 20 parameters tested, and then I get a let's say, interpretation from my physician. And then the values are somewhat precise, but not really precise enough to make statements about onset of disease. So basically, precision medicine means that we have, on one hand, a methodology which is better than the existing status quo. And there is room for improvement in our existing standard of care. And when we do things more precisely, then it opens the door to personalized medicine. At the end of the day, what we want is to have precision medicine, basically a more precise way of capturing patient information for a better, more personalized approach to understand the health situation of a given individual.
Mm-hmm. And your company focuses on finding diseases even before symptoms appear. How can AI help doctors detect health problems sooner? And what difference could that make for patients?
Yeah, I like to translate this in a simpler setting. First of all, let's forget about the AI. What the important statement is the predictive nature, or what appears as to be predictive, because when we have now our annual checkup, and I like this example because we all go once a year, ideally to the physician, to get our annual report. Mm-hmm. Now, what we are seeing in a standard annual report is the number of parameters, they are listed, and your physician only tells you if the values are within the standard range or not. There are two issues with that. The standard range, what does it mean? Can you compare a 20-year-old woman to a 60-year-old man? You cannot really. This is one of the issues of where precision medicine and personalized medicine come into play. And the second aspect is those parameters, they are only looked at a standalone value, which is a problem because when we look in our body, we have all those biochemical processes. So all those parameters are connected with each other, but in the standard process, the way how it's being offered in today's medicine, they are not looked at a system as a group. And this is what we are doing. So basically, we are looking at those parameters. We are looking at about 250 parameters and their relationship to each other, because their relationship to each other decide if a disease is emerging or not. And here just one example to summarize, and then I will also speak to the AI part. Yeah. So basically the standard physician report you get annually gives you only a snapshot of parameters in a standalone view. They are not being assessed in a context. What we do, on the other hand, is we look at 250 biological markers, parameters, but we look at them in a context. We see how they are changing in dependencies to each other. So we look at patterns. Now, this is now where AI comes into the game. AI helps us to be more faster, to be more efficient, and to see things faster, which otherwise we would not see early enough. Now, let's conclude with the aspect of, can it really help us to see if a disease is emerging or not? So many of those chronic diseases, maybe diabetes, liver disease, or even oncological disease like cancer disease, they start very slowly at the beginning. So slowly that you don't see those differences with standard methods. In our case, because we look at the combined parameters, we can see very subtle changes early on, which then can tell us, oh, this individual is becoming diabetic in about 10 years if he or she doesn't change lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. And how do we make sure precision medicine and early testing become something accessible to everyone and not just in big hospitals or in wealthier countries?
Yeah. So there are two aspects here. On one hand, it's the technology itself and the simplicity. Second is the accessibility. In our case, what we do is we have standardized our protocols that we take a standard blood sample, like a serum, which you get from your physician with a venous blood draw. And then we take this and then we use physics. We don't use chemistry. Physics is more convenient because you don't need expensive reagents. So what we do is we perform a scan of the blood sample. You may be, of course, familiar with MRI for imaging body parts. It's the very same physical principle. Instead of imaging body parts, we take a much stronger magnetic field, 3 times stronger, and then we can image molecules. We basically capture about 250 different biomarkers from one blood scan. Because it's purely physics, it's quite affordable. So the cost structure itself, the cost itself, is in the lower double-digit dollar range or euro range. That means we have a very healthy cost structure, which helps us now to offer this in a meaningful, sustainable business in different geographies in the world.
There's an ongoing conversation about using AI with medical data. It's not always a positive one. How do we make patients and doctors trust these tools?
Yeah, I think first of all, I think there are 2 aspects of trust. One aspect is do I understand the technology? Do I understand what's happening? That's part 1. And part 2 is, what about my data privacy? Who has my data? Do people know that I may have a condition ABC? Now, let's speak first about the AI part. AI basically helps us to do things fast and more efficiently. It's not magic. So basically, whatever we see, whatever we do from our perspective, from a lifespan perspective, it's basically what clinical chemistry has done in the last 100 years. But in our case, boom, you get it in 5 minutes. That's the difference, okay? So if we are very transparent, we offer webinars to physicians to inform physicians about what is happening under the hood. Second is data privacy. That's extremely important. And here, of course, we anonymize the data, or in a clinical setting, we pseudonymize. We never use real names of the individuals who are getting tested. I never see any results. So basically, with this, as a company, we take care that the patient identity is protected. On the other hand, what we have is a cloud-based system. So we have our system on AWS, which is a very high industry standard. So basically, from those perspectives, I wouldn't have any cybersecurity concerns as a user. And the technology piece, again, I think people can understand if you explain it well enough.
What kind of healthcare world do you hope to live in, let's say, in the coming 10 years?
Yeah. Not in the current world, that's what I would say. What I always like to show when I give a keynote, I like to show a picture of Mars. And then I am asking the audience, which health system would you use when you colonize Mars? Would you like to copy the completely unsustainable health systems we are seeing now worldwide. Maybe US or Germany, doesn't matter, they are all not good enough. Or
Okay.
wouldn't you go for the latest and greatest in terms of technology? And this is very important because here it's a matter of how the mindset is in healthcare. If you are in consumer technologies, people buy something because it's new. In healthcare, it's the opposite. People don't buy it because it's new. So basically what you have to do is you first have to identify globally who are the top innovators in the field. So what are the top hospitals worldwide which are going proactively after new technologies? And here we are seeing that the private payers in Asia are excellent. They are very motivated to insource new technologies, which we like a lot. But then at the end of the day, it's awareness creation. But now we see also a shift more from public to private payment, even in countries like Germany. Even in countries like Germany, where you had lots of subsidized health systems, you have now a push towards more out-of-pocket services. So there's a change in awareness. So basically, I think with more informed individuals, more informed consumers and patients, there is a trend. But at the end of the day, it's the economic reality. We will not be able to afford the same level of healthcare as we have today in 10, 20 or 30 years, also because of the aging demographics and the skyrocketing rates of non-communicable diseases like diabetes. There are places in Asia where almost everyone has diabetes. That's crazy. At the same time, we want to address those diseases and help the people to recover. That means you need better, more efficient systems which are better than the status quo. And with this, I think, although it takes time to establish new technologies, new product categories in the market, we are confident that the economic incentives will be strong and compelling enough, along with the upsides for the patients, that it will be quite a nice turnover in the next 10 years.
Ellie, thank you very much.
Thank you, Surya, for the excellent questions.